Your universal screening data can show you where students need help, but how can you use your screening data to effectively form small groups for instruction? I'm Stephanie, and I support educators to learn about and use the science of reading to improve reading outcomes. If you're interested in what we do here, leave a like and subscribe to Reading Science Academy. I'm going to walk through an example of how you might go from universal screening data to small groups that could be implemented in regular classroom tier 1 or ELA instruction, or for intervention in tier 2 or tier 3. Screening data gives you some initial information to form small groups. And in some cases, you'll want to follow up with a diagnostic assessment so that you can further refine the groups beyond the information that you get from brief screening. I'm going to walk through examples of how to use direct assessments from screening tools such as curriculum-based measures, like you'll find with Acadience Reading or Dibble's 8th edition, or the CBM tools that are available with FastBridge or AimsWeb. These are those 1-minute indicators. And the example I'm going to show is from first grade at the beginning of the year, where the key skills to screen on include phonemic awareness and basic decoding, so letter sound and the ability to read words that are non-words is usually the way that this is assessed, as units. So being able to unitize those letter sounds to read words. So I'm going to walk through an example using the Acadience measures specifically. That's what I have in mind, but you could apply this process to any of those curriculum-based measures that have indicators of phonemic awareness and the alphabetic principle or basic phonics at the beginning of first grade. So I think a really good starting place is to have the screening data in front of you, either laying out the scoring forms on the table in front of you or having it organized for your classroom in a spreadsheet or a report available from the assessment vendor, and sorting those screening scores based on the phonemic awareness indicator. So I'm using phoneme segmentation fluency, or PSF, as the example here. And so I'm going to be sorting students into groups, 4 different groups, where the first group will be the most on-track students, students with low risk of having difficulty with reading in the future. You could think of these as on-track students. And then group 4 will be the most in need of support group of students. So sorting first based on the PSF score, I'm going to sort my class or my grade level from highest to lowest. And the first pattern that I'm looking for are the students who are okay or at or above benchmark on the phoneme segmentation indicator, phoneme segmentation fluency, and they're also okay on the indicator of the alphabetic principle. In the case I'm using, that's nonsense word fluency, which has 2 scores. And the students I'm looking for here are at or above benchmark on PSF and both of the NWF scores. So that would be correct letter sounds and whole words read. So I'm going to find students who fit that pattern, like student A, and I'm going to put those students together into group 1. And I'm going to call that my advanced pattern group, okay, just for lack of a better term. And then I'm going to be looking right down that same list of phoneme segmentation fluency scores for students with a slightly different pattern. Those are students who are at or above benchmark on phoneme segmentation fluency and the correct letter sound score from nonsense word fluency, but not the whole words read score from nonsense word fluency. So these are students who are accurate and automatic with connecting sound to symbol, but having difficulty unitizing or recoding those letter sounds to read words. So I'm going to find students like student B here in this example, put them together into group 2, and I'm going to call group 2 my blending group, okay? And then I'm going to find any students in my grade or class who are scoring at or above benchmark for phoneme segmentation fluency, but not at benchmark. So they're either below or well below benchmark on both of those NWF scores, CLS and WWR. These are students who seem to be okay with phonemic awareness, but they're having difficulty connecting sounds to letters, um, difficulty blending those letter sounds to read words. And so I'm going to call that group 3. I'm going to use the term letter sound to identify that group. And then I'm going to find the students who are not at or above benchmark on PSF. These are the students who I'm most concerned about. They are also not at or above benchmark for NWF, both of those scores. These are the students who are my highest priority. They're going to go together, like student D in my example, into group 4. And this I'm going to call my urgent need group. These are the students who I really need to prioritize for support. They have not acquired the essential early literacy skills that they should have in kindergarten. And now we really don't have a minute to waste with their instruction. We have an urgent need to support them. So once I have these 4 basic groups sorted for my grade level or my classroom, I can start to think about the instruction that might be helpful to target for each one of these groups and think about providing that targeted instruction in the regular ELA block. Even if I'm doing a whole group lesson, I can have these student needs in mind as I'm doing that. Or depending on how many students are scoring below or well below expectation, falling into groups 2 through 4, I might think about differentiating what I'm doing in tier 1 rather than doing whole group, providing these small group targeted lessons in tier 1. And then also providing the double dose at tier 2 or tier 3 with intervention that's targeted at exactly these same skills. So the other thing that I might use these screening data and groups to do is help me think about, do I need to do any additional assessment with any of these students? And I'm honestly kind of ambivalent about that topic. I'm not sure additional diagnostic assessment is helpful in kindergarten or at the beginning of 1st grade when really, if a student isn't doing well on phonemic awareness or letter sound, we should just start teaching students to blend and segment phonemes and to connect phonemes to letters and to read at a very basic, like vowel consonant level, read very basic words. We should just start that instruction. If you are going to differentiate that instruction, like start students in different lessons, then perhaps it would be helpful to give students in group 4 a diagnostic that could tell you exactly which letter sounds do they know and not know. I'm not sure about a diagnostic for phonemic awareness. I think the only circumstance where that might be helpful is if it's a placement test that routes you into a phonemic awareness program. But I want you to be cautious about, taking students back to those larger linguistic units like the syllable level or compound words. You really want to try to get to blending and segmenting initial sound and phonemes, working at the phoneme level as quickly as you can. So sometimes I think giving a phonemic awareness diagnostic stalls us out in getting to the phoneme level, and I'm not sure that that's helpful. So you can share your thoughts about that because I'm not sure about that. So the other piece would be a diagnostic that tells you exactly which letter sounds. And so if you have a good instructional program, a good intervention program, you're just going to start the student in that and maybe not worry about exactly which letters, names and sounds that they actually know. So just my thinking on that piece. But the big picture is that we can get started with forming some relevant instructional groups to inform all tiers of instruction right after we have screening data. And this process of forming groups really helps teachers and all educators to understand the patterns in the screening data, what those patterns indicate about what students already know, and therefore we don't have to teach it to them. We don't have to spend time on what they already know and what they need to learn next, so that every minute that we have students during the school day can be focused and targeted at instruction that meets their next step for instruction, exactly what they need. If you like this video, I've got another one coming up for doing a similar process in grades 3 through 6. So make sure that you like the video, subscribe to Reading Science Academy, and thanks so much for watching.